All right. So Facebook gave me the green light. Let's see what let's see what Instagram. Okay, green light on Instagram. YouTube looking good. All right. All right. So, I am just a little bit under the weather. I'm not like super sick, but I'm feeling it. So, I was gonna cancel this live, but it looked like a few people actually wanted me to go live. Um, I think it was a setup. They trying to set me up, y'all. They trying to set me up. So, um, Erica, whom I just was with in Vegas, she brung a few of us out to Vegas to shoot some film, and I was trying to get out of this live, but I'm here. And I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to talk a little bit and expound a little bit, but I'm actually here to answer some questions too. A lot of people, uh, they ask me questions about relationships, and I answer them. And I usually do this in private. And the reason that I do this in private is because I have some crazy views, and I don't feel like my views are always right. I'm not that person that feel like I'm always right. I'm 100% right. And I didn't want to do this publicly until I was given a pat on the back by my woman. My woman told me like you give good advice. She told me that actually she told me that last night. Not about relationships. Last night was about something else. But she actually told me last week, like, you can give relationship advice. I was like, dang, you know what I mean? I've kind of moved up in the world. Because just a year or so ago, my relationship advice was it seemed a bit crazy. So for her to tell me that it's okay for me to give relationship advice, that was big for me because it meant that she felt like my opinion about relationships must have been okay for me to make it public, right? So I posted earlier that I would go live and I would talk about relationships. And um I did feel okay earlier. I've been like the last couple days I've noticed that my body was fighting something. But today I had a little more sniffles, a little more like I felt it a little more. So I took me a little medicine. I took me a quick nap. And I was like, look, man, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I did a couple Zooms before I got on here. I wanted to go live about 4, but my Zooms ran a little long, and then one of them had to reschedule. So I ended up on here about 6 o'clock. That's kind of how my day goes. That's why I don't usually set a set time for these type of lives. I literally get into stuff, and I have clients across different fields. Today the Zooms were more credit repair, and I ended up behind schedule. Not that I was behind schedule, just they had to reschedule. Well, one of them was getting off of work a little later than he expected. So it was a kind of, it ended up being a kind of a long day for me, but I'm here. And I'm here to talk about black love. We've seen black love take a turn for the worse with the whole Papoose and Remy Ma thing. Well, if y'all believe in the internet stuff, then y'all seen it take a turn for the worse. I'm not big on the internet thing. That's why I named my company Real Life, because I feel like people put their best foot forward on the internet, and I do to a certain extent. I don't have people all in my business. That's just kind of like my thing. I give you what I want you to have, so I respect that. I respect people that give you what they want you to have. Even with what happened with Papoose and Remy, I respect the fact that they did not just go crazy on keeping everybody in a business. When it hit the fan, it hit the fan. And sometimes that's how things are when you don't post everything about your business on the internet, and then things start to hit the internet and you have to address it. So things went kind of crazy for them, and a lot of times that's how it is. So we have we have entered a period of some kind of truth in what's really going on. We have all of these podcasts and we have people touring the country talking about relationships, and they are talking about relationships, and they are basically they're charging people to come in and give their opinions. What's up, Skrilla? So they are charging people to give their to come in and give their opinions. They are doing these platforms, these I don't know what they're called. They like it's a bunch of people on stage and they are talking about relationships, and one of them has actually been he been exposed. This what happens when you get a big enough name on the internet and you're not as truthful and forthcoming as you should be. People people are looking for the chink in your armor. So one of these guys, I'm not gonna get into it. I'm trying not to be messy about it. But these guys have they talk about all this red pill stuff, and basically they are um they are like he-man women haters, it seemed like I'm not ever coming from that aspect. I love my woman, so I'm not ever coming from a he-man woman haters club type of thing. I feel like a man has to be a man though, and the way that they go about it, they don't give you enough information for you to actually make a real justified opinion of what they're talking about. They give it to you so raw and chest thumping that you feel like you have to be a certain type of aggressive towards women, and it ends up being demeaning. It ends up being a lot less loving than it should be. Yeah, there we go. Panel discussions, I guess that's what they call. So you have these panels and you have these people that are for the most part they are very unqualified, and these people are not realistic enough to tell you that they're unqualified because they're getting paid to do this. But relationships are hard, right? Relationships are hard. And the things that a lot of these people are telling y'all to look for in a relationship, they are the reason that you're not in a relationship. And if you are in a relationship, you are not in a good relationship because relationships are hard. That's the full truth. That's the if you don't take away anything else from this live, I want you to take that away. Relationships are hard. They are hard work. And they are harder now than they have ever been because it's a lot of noise, right? So back in the day, you may have had one or two people that you talked to about your relationship, and you knew them personally and you talked to them about your relationship for a specific reason. Maybe you admired the relationship they had. Maybe you knew that they understood what you were going through with a certain person, or maybe they went to school and they had some type of degree that gave them some type of qualification to talk to you about your relationship. But now you have all of these relationship gurus, and you have I love Kevin Samuels, y'all. So I'm not dogging Kevin Samuels. I love, like, legit love Kevin Samuels. So because I felt like Kevin Samuels, he gave a lot of good information. What people expounded across the internet, those were the things that were a little more controversial. But Kevin Samuels actually talk to men a lot more than he talked to women. It's just that's what went viral, so that's what we seen. So I love Kevin Samuels, but these other guys, they took away what made Kevin Samuels go viral. So a lot of these guys, they took away the parts that were they were a little messy, and they grew their social media following on these messy parts, and they started all this red pill talk and all of this extra stuff that's it's like breaking us down, right? And it's separating us. But that's what the internet loves. If you watch anything on the internet, if you see any type of content that goes viral, it is very, very controversial. And what makes something controversial is that it splits people, right? And a lot of this is done on our end. When I say our, I mean black. I'm obviously I had like a blonde beard, but I identify as black. Y'all, I'm black. So When I say our, I mean Black or African American. Our relationships have been affected the most by this type of thing because it has gone viral and it has made other people feel like they have to do this type of content for people to pay attention to it, right? And when you do something like that, when you separate people, right? So back in the day you had Jim Crow and all these other things, and you had the Willie Lynch syndrome where they wanted to separate light skin, dark skin, house, field, all that stuff. Separation is very controversial, and these relationship gurus have chosen other relationship gurus to put on these platforms because they have very controversial views on relationships. They have very controversial views on male female relations in general, and a lot of these people are not telling the truth about how they live their life. So with one of them, I don't want to go into his name, with one of them being exposed, he talk all of this high value stuff, and he tell men not to date women with children, even though he is currently engaged to a woman with a child who just so happens to be a white woman with a child. And I have nothing against interracial relationships. That is your business. That's not my business. Whatever floats your boat is fine with me. I'm just saying he's very red pillish. And what happens is he gives a lot of information on relationships, and with him not being honest about his own relationship, and I'm not saying that we should know all of his business, but with him telling men not to date women with children without giving context, it creates uh another level of separation. So my view on dating women with children is that every situation is to be looked at in its own right, right? So if you are a man, I have friends with no kids, right? I have a few friends with no kids. And I do tell my friends with no kids that it's probably better for them to look for women without kids, unless they, because they I'm 40. So my friends are 40, 42, 3, 4, 5, or whatever. And unless they just want a relationship, want kids, and they kind of giving up on doing it themselves. I usually tell my friends, you should find somebody without that type of drama because you're not bringing that type of drama. Once again, things are all about context, right? So in dating women with children, you have another level of responsibility. You have it's other things that come with that. And if you don't have kids, and it's the same thing for women without children, if you are a woman without children, I would advise you not to date men with children because you may not understand what's needed, right? You may not understand the relationship between that man and the mother of his child. You may not understand the relationship between that man and his children to where you're not first all the time, right? And for you to be a person without children, that's hard for you to understand, right? Because you have only had to think about yourself. And when you get into the age of 35 and 40, 45 and 50, you have grown into the person that you are pretty much going to be, even though you can refine some edges. But going into 35, 40, 45, and all that type of thing, you may be a little bit selfish, right? And it's rightfully so, because you can get up and go when you please. You have no children. You can take a trip when you feel like taking a trip. You have no children, right? So as a woman, you want to get up and go the way you've been getting up and going for the past 15, 20 years, depending on your age. And when you're dealing with a man with children, he may not be able to get up and go, especially if he is actively doing things in his children's life. It could be anything. He could be picking the kids up from school. He can be doing football games, basketball games, cheerleading, whatever. He has another level of responsibility that you may not understand because you have only had to worry about yourself, right? So that's something that we can always add context to. And then you have another level of the relationship between the the woman or the man that they have kids with. You have to be confident in yourself to allow them to have whatever that relationship may be, whether that's good or bad, and you can have input on that, and y'all can agree to what level of communication you have with that person or whatever else you have going on. But it's a lot to deal with if you're not coming to the situation with that type of baggage, right? So when I give advice with context. I will never get on here and tell people something like it's a rule of thumb or it's 100% law, because that's not how life works, right? So if you run into a situation where you are a male and you meet a woman with children, and that woman has her situation together, she has an understanding with the father of her children or the fathers of her children, whatever the situation, that's a situation that you have to understand fully, and you have to be willing to see where you fit in, because not every woman is looking for a father to her kids, right? You can come in and you can add to the situation, but you don't want to come in and have to take away from the situation. So, as a man, if you are dealing with a woman with children, you don't want to come into the situation and need more attention than her children need. You don't want to come into the situation and be another child. She has children already. So, if you come into the situation, I have had to start over twice, right? I came out of the state prison at 27. I had no kids. I came out of the federal prison system in 2021 and I had four children. And my lady helped me readjust to society, right? The first time I had to figure things out, right? I had other women in my life that helped me. I had my sisters and different people that, try to give me a little game, but really I had to bump my head, right? I had to bump my head. And a lot of us do, because I came home big headed. I thought I knew more than I knew, and I had to bump my head. And along that line, I had female friends who would give me advice. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't know, you over there. You don't know what's going on or whatever. But hindsight being 2020, I understand that people give you advice based on their life experiences, and even though you may not share those life experiences, you can take something away to help you in your life experience, right? So when I talk to people about dealing with other people with children, especially if you have no children, I never give advice without context, because you can meet someone very special to you, right, with children, who could provide everything you need in a relationship even if you have no children, right? And you can be exactly what they need in their relationship, in their children's lives, everything. So you can be of some type of service and some type of help. And I would never tell you not to do that. I would never tell you, if you don't have children, don't date another person with children. But what I will tell you is to understand the situation and to be realistic with yourself, whether you are willing to take on whatever responsibility that relationship comes with, because you can't have one without the other. So you can't go and deal with the person and not deal with the children and not deal with the person that they had children with. You have to decide if that is something you're willing to take on before you do that. And it may be more than you can handle. And so I tell people, before you jump into that, be realistic with yourself. Now, if you have an understanding of the situation being one way, and then you get into the situation and you find out that it's something else, then that's a totally different situation altogether. And you have the right to get the hell on. If anybody lies to you, if anybody misleads you, if anybody tricks you into a situation, I don't feel like you need to be held into that situation. But if you go into this situation knowing what it is, and that person has been honest with you and they tell you, look, um, the daddy is a deadbeat, my kids need a male role model, this, and you are willing to do that, and that is something that is dear to your heart, then I feel like you should do that. So these red pill people, like I said, man, they got all of these black and white things, and I don't feel like relationships are black and white. So now that we talked about children, because that's a big thing, I want to talk about income, right? So you have not just necessarily income. I want to talk about having standards in your relationship. I am a firm believer in standards in everything. I'm a firm believer in standards. So I am never telling a woman that she is wrong for having standards in who she wants to give herself to, whether that be mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever. You should have standards, right? And to not have standards mean you allow everybody in your cipher, and that could be a turn off for the person that you really want in your cipher, right? So my thing with standards is that um realistic standards to me are standards that you can actually live up to, right? So when you see women and they talk about you see women and they talk about having standards, but these are standards that they don't line up with, right? So let's say you are a woman and you feel like you need a six-figure man or a seven-figure man, whatever. I don't feel like you're wrong for having standards. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like you're wrong for having standards. You have people that will degrade you for having standards. So, just to give a little more context on this. So, I about maybe 10 years ago, I seen Lisa Ray on something. It was the Breakfast Club or it was something like that. And Lisa Ray talked about growing up and having money. And Lisa Ray's father, he was a street dude that real appeals the truth. He was a Lisa Ray's father was a street dude in Chicago that crossed over to doing legitimate business. He was a millionaire, right? He was a millionaire. You can do your own research. He was a millionaire. It's the Brat's father too. They had the same father. I used to think they were like stepsisters or whatever, but once I did the research, I actually found out the truth. They have the same father. So Lisa Ray's father, who was also the Brat's father, he was a street dude that did really well in the streets, and he invested in real estate, and he did well legitimately too. He had businesses in real estate, different things like that. And Lisa Ray grew up spoiled. Lisa Ray had money, right? Lisa Ray was privileged. She was privileged. Lisa Ray had the things that she wanted all her life, right? So, growing into adulthood, Lisa Ray became a celebrity. She's not the greatest actress. I'm not about to act like I'm a fan or anything, but um her opinion started to mean something because she's a celebrity now. If you're not a celebrity or you're not, doing something like I'm doing now, your opinion don't really matter. But her status gave her opinion some weight. And Lisa Ray was vocal about not dating men without who didn't make money. Like, if you don't got money, I don't want you. And they tried to make her out to be a gold digger. I completely disagree. And she explained it. I have a certain standard of living that I'm used to. My father took care of me a certain way. So when I date men who can take care of me a certain way. It's nothing wrong with that, right? It's nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with her having that attitude. And I was glad to hear that because I treat my daughter a certain way, understanding what she said. You have to set the bar, right? The bar has been set. Lisa Ray's father set the bar. He got her foreign cars and whatever she wanted growing up. She dressed how she wanted to dress. She was well taken care of. So she would be crazy to date a man that came along and didn't do anything for her, didn't provide anything for her, and was not able to give her the type of lifestyle that she was accustomed to. That does not make her a gold digger, right? That does not make her a gold digger. So we are limited to our own beliefs and our own thought processes of what we see, but we have to come with an open mind. So a woman's standards, what I feel like is a realistic standard, is a standard that she can actually live up to, a standard that um she can handle, right? So if you have a woman that wants a man that makes, let's say, $1 million a year, but this particular woman cannot hold $1 million a year conversation, then this woman is not going to attract $1 million a year man for long. You can attract them with beauty and booty, but after he speak with you over a certain period of time, or after he deals with you over a certain period of time, he's not going to want to deal with you for much longer if you cannot hold his attention, if you cannot, if you cannot, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? If you cannot keep him stimulated, right? If you cannot stimulate a seven-figure man, then you are being unrealistic, right? Your expectations are unrealistic because you feel like what you want to do is enough for a seven-figure man, but all you're attracting is five-figure men, then maybe you need to step it up so that what you are is attracting that seven-figure man, right? That's what unrealistic standards are to me, right? When you talk about a woman who say, "Oh, I want a man who's in shape," but you over there 280 pounds, eating everything in the kitchen, you won't go work out, you won't do anything to keep yourself healthy. I feel like that's an unrealistic standard. But for a woman who is keeping herself up a certain way, for her to say, "I want a man that's doing X, Y, and Z, he's in shape," I feel like that's a realistic standard. So for a woman to say she want a six-figure man or a seven-figure man, I don't necessarily feel like she needs to make six figures or seven figures, but I feel like she needs to provide the things that a six-figure or seven-figure man would find attractive, right? So if all you have to offer is your body, that may work for somebody who's attracted to just that. But for a man that's making a certain amount of money, that's doing a certain amount of thing, you have to stimulate them. And it may not just be sexually. You have to stimulate them mentally, emotionally, and you have to be willing to do that because that man may be a very busy man. That man may be a very focused man. That man may be a very like goal driven man, and you may be second, and it's something that you're going to have to deal with. And if you are not mentally able to keep him stimulated, then just being physically available to him may not be it, right? So that's what unrealistic standards are to me, right? That's what unrealistic standards are to me. I don't feel like setting the bar high makes a standard unrealistic if you are willing to do what's needed to reach that bar, right? So that's how I feel about relationships. Most people who are single now, they have unrealistic standards because they are not the person that's going to attract the person that they think they want, right? So a lot of people get out of a relationship and they feel like the best thing to do is jump in a relationship because it makes them feel good. Like it makes them feel like, hey, I somebody wants me, whatever. Like it may do something for you personally, right? It may make you feel better. But in reality, if you get out of a relationship with a person, then that person may not be the problem. So you need to take the time to understand what happened, right? And this time could be different for everybody. This time could be 3 months, this time could be 3 years. It depends on what you need to think about and the changes that you need to make in your life before you jump right back into another relationship, right? You have to think about that. You have to say, okay, what attracted me to this person or what made me attractive to this person? Is it something that I need to deal with internally to make me more attractive to the person that I actually want? And that could be physically, mentally, emotionally, something, right? You have to think you want a certain type of person, right? And that person wants a certain type of person. If you're realistic with yourself, you can say, am I the person that that person wants? Am I the person that that person needs in their life? Can I provide any value to that person? Right? You have to be realistic with yourself because if you are not attracting the people that you want to attract, it is your fault. It's always your fault because only you can change you and you are the only thing that you can change. So if you are not attracting that seven-figure man or that woman that's no drama or whatever, whatever you feel like you deserve out the world, if you are not attracting that, then you have to do some dealing in yourself, right? You have to come to the grips that I am attracting this person for a reason. A lot of us get out of relationships and we attract the same person that we got out of the relationship with. And the reason that we do that is because we have not healed. We have not figured out why we're attracting that person. And we feel like they are the problem, but we keep attracting the same people. Right. And what's scary is sometimes these people even look alike. Like you literally attract people that look like your ex, right? They have the same behaviors, the same problems, the same trauma, the same drama, the same everything. And you are attracting them because you have not healed. You have not taken the time to deal with yourself and say, I had to be a better me to attract a better mate. It's just that, right? You have to think about why you are attracting a certain person. You can only change you. You cannot change the people that you are bringing into your life. You cannot bring them in your life and say, I'm going to make them better. Life doesn't work like that. If you are not attracting the right friends, it's because you are not having the right conversations. If you are not attracting the right mate, it's because you are not in the right places that those people are looking for mates in. If you are not attracting the right people on social media, it's because you are not presenting the best person that you're supposed to be on social media, right? So if all you are attracting is people that want to jump your bones, it's probably because you twerking on every video, right? If you are not attracting people that respect your mind, it's because you have not given them a mind to respect, right? If you are not attracting people that want to be good to you, it's because you have not shown them something that they want to be good to. And people call it victim shaming and all of that. I don't feel like that's it. I feel like you have to take responsibility. And I hate to say this, but in dealing with a lot of women, that is the issue, right? And that even in the red pill thing and all of that, they talk about that. But I agree with that. A lot of women are afraid to take responsibility for anything, and the world has given them a way out. If a woman, if I cheated on my woman tomorrow, they're gonna blame me. I'm a dog. She did a bit with me. I'm not right. I'm tripping. That's a good woman. She roll with you. She this, that. She take care. She make sure you good. She take care of your kids. All of that. Whatever happened with me tomorrow, if I stepped out on my woman, that's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be a dog. The world is gonna let me hear about it, even if they don't let me hear about it, they gonna dog me behind my back because most people not gonna say a whole lot of stuff to my face. But I'm gonna be the one that's wrong, right? That's just the way the world looks at it. That's just the way the world views it. I have a good woman. My woman held me down. My woman makes sure my kids are good. My woman makes sure I'm good. My woman makes sure the house good. And I stepped out on my woman. I'm a dog. I deserve to be hung by my boss. All of that. That's what's gonna happen. The world is gonna let me hear it or not let me hear it and talk about me behind my back, but they are gonna blame me. I'm dead wrong for stepping out on my woman. If my woman stepped out on me tomorrow, it's still going to be my fault because I should have paid her more attention. I should have been better to her. It's going to be my fault. That's the way that the world works, right? So no matter what she does, they're going to take responsibility away from her and they're going to find a way to blame me. It doesn't matter what you do as a man. You can make $10 million a year. They're going to say you should have gave her some more time. You was too busy. It doesn't matter if you gave her the time. They're going to say you was too soft. It was too normal. She needed some action in her life and she got it from side doo doo wop. So it doesn't matter what you do is going to be your fault because the world has allowed women to duck responsibility, and that's just the way it is, right? So now you have these women who feel like they can damn near get away with murder, right? And even if they don't vocalize this, it's the way that their actions are, right? So now you have women that get out of relationships, and instead of their friends being real with them and telling them, girl, this is a problem, maybe you should do this or whatever, the women are like, girl, he crazy. You a good woman. Girl, he crazy, right? It's never the woman's fault. So now we have a whole bunch of people who are pointing the finger instead of looking at themselves and looking in the mirror and saying, how can I be better? How can I do better? That's the main thing with the world in itself, right? No matter what happened to you, You have to take some type of responsibility to make sure that it doesn't happen again. You have to make sure it doesn't happen again. So if you are in a relationship for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years, and that relationship ends, you have to take some time to give an honest assessment and to take some type of responsibility, or you're going to bump your head again. You're going to bump your head again because you have not taken responsibility. You have not looked at yourself and tried to fix whatever it is that got you in that situation. Even though, right? Even though it may not all be your fault, because a dog is a dog, right? A dog is a dog. But what you have to do is say, what about me attracted that dog? What about me allowed this dog to dog me? How can I become the person that doesn't get dogged by a dog? Right? That's what taking responsibility is, not blaming yourself, getting down on yourself, getting depressed about it, but literally saying, what do I need to change so this does not happen to me again? That's what you need that break for. And that break could be 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 3 years, whatever, right? I told y'all I was under the weather a little bit, but I had to do this because I was prodded to do this, y'all. So seriously, y'all, this is what I'm talking about. So when I say take responsibility, I'm never saying beat yourself up. I am not the person that's going to beat myself up about anything. Sometimes people hate that about me. I'm like, look, man, I took a L. It is what it is. I'm gonna learn from it and move forward. That's the best way to move for me, right? That's the best way to move for me. And I feel like that's the best way to move for anybody. Because you don't want to beat yourself down about something because you can't control other people's actions, right? So even if they did something to you and you gave your best effort, right? You gave your best effort. Let's say you met a person and they were down and you just lifted them up and you gave them so much love and nourishment and encouragement and you did everything that you knew to be right for them and they still dogged you. Right? They still dogged you. They still cheated on you. They still beat on you. They still did whatever. Like they still stepped out. They still left you. They still did whatever. Right? You literally you can look at yourself and honestly say you gave 100% to this person. You did the most you could do. You were the best person you could be for this person and you gave them everything you had. You put everything that you had in that relationship and you tried to change for them and you gave them the best version of yourself you can give them at the time with the information you had you literally gave 100% of yourself to this person, right? You gave them the utmost respect. You loved and cherished them and you can honestly say that after whatever amount of time, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, you can look at yourself and say, I did 100% in that relationship and I really gave that person my all. If you can look at yourself and say that, right? Then pat yourself on the back and that's cool. Right? But something allowed you to be misused. Something allowed you to be mishandled. Something. And it could be childhood trauma. It could be things that you haven't dealt with. Maybe you tried too hard, right? Maybe you did so much that the person felt like they could take advantage of you. Maybe they did not respect you enough to respect you, right? Maybe they didn't fear you leaving enough to respect you. It was something you did, right? Maybe you were too needy, right? Maybe you may because relationships should be um 100, right? You shouldn't feel like this person is the air you breathe. I don't feel like relationships should be like that. I just feel like if you give a person that type of power, they may take advantage of you, right? So maybe it was some of that. This is something that you have to address. Even if you did everything right, it was something you did that you can adjust a little to make sure that don't happen again, right? And that's what taking responsibility is. It's not about beating yourself up. It is not about hanging your head down about something. Relationships they happen, right? Okay, so M dot. Let's get to some of these comments. Okay, so the way the Facebook comments work, y'all, I'm not able to share them on here. It's like a certain they API is a little funky. But M dot he says that it's hard to date in America in 2004 and 2024, 2025. I don't know what makes dating in 2024, 2025 so hard. Okay. So I think M dot may have just been joining us. So M dot says that women's expectations these days are too high. I don't agree with that. Um as I stated earlier, I feel like if a woman has high expectations and she lives up to those expectations, I don't feel like those are high expectations, right? Sometimes we want things that's out of our league, right? So if a woman is used to Gucci, Prada, Fendi, all that stuff, and we can't afford it, we need to stay out her way. We need to let her get a ball player. Like let her get somebody that can afford Gucci, Prada, whatever she used to, right? You may be out of your league. That's fine, right? It's the same concept that I gave earlier about women wanting certain things and not being what that person want. It's the same concept for men, right? So I don't want to sit on here and like I'm dogging women. So with men, if you meet a woman and that woman has a certain standard of life, right? And I talked about Lisa Ray a little earlier. If that woman has a certain standard of life and you are not able to provide that for her, you need to get out her way. You need to get out her way. That is not her having too high standards, right? If a woman has a certain level of expectation that she's living up to, right? Now, if the woman is expecting you to take her out of Tarjay into Gucci, Fendi, Prada, then that woman is delusional, right? That woman has a problem, right? That woman needs to get herself together. If you cannot provide for yourself in the way that you want somebody else to provide for you, or if nobody else that you've dealt with has ever provided for you that way, then you are delusional, right? You are delusional, right? So Artrea, you ain't gotta deal with M dot. You know M dot gonna go, but you don't I don't feel like y'all are I don't feel like women's expectations are high. A woman should have standards, right? If a woman does not have standards, she's gonna give her attention to everybody, right? And everybody is going to get her attention, right? If you don't have standards, and that's vice versa, even with a man. If all a man is looking for is a big butt or something, it's a million big butts. They fake, they real, they it's butts everywhere. So if all you care about is a big butt, your standards are terribly low, and you're gonna be bombarded with big butts. It just is what it is. It's just like the algorithms on social media. If you click a couple likes, you like a couple big butt, all your whole algorithm will be a bunch of big butts, right? So that's how you have to look at life and dating, right? So yeah, a high value woman. So now, right, since M dot brought up the fact of a high value woman deserves a high value man or whatever, what is high value, right? Who determines the value, right? Who determines the value? So I have on a Nike shirt, right? If I put Gucci on the shirt, do that change the value of the shirt? Like, say I just had somebody stitch Gucci in the shirt, right? We determine the value. We determine the value of Gucci product, Fendi, whatever it is. We determine the value of the Mercedes Benz, whatever. Now, it may be something in there that make it run a little better than a Toyota, whatever. But in the end, we determine the value because if you go to Germany or wherever they're making these cars at, they look at those cars like we look at Fords, right? We determine the value, right? We determine the value, man. So, what is a high value man? Are we talking about a man that makes a certain amount of money? Or are we talking about a man that has a certain amount of principle, right? Because you may have a man that makes millions of dollars a year, but he doesn't do anything for his kids. He dog women. He could be a terrible man, right? So are we still considering him a high value man, right? So then you may have a man that only make 30,000. I don't know how he living off $30,000 a year, but let's say he make $30,000 a year. But that man is a man that has so much value in himself that he carries himself a certain way, that he take care of his woman a certain way, his kids a certain way, and he does above and beyond what he can do for his $30,000, right? Well, I'm just saying in general, what are we considering a high value man or a high value woman? Right? What is a high value woman? Give me a couple examples of a high value woman. I don't understand where a high value man or a high value woman is not a universal thing, right? Most definitely. Nope. You got to be in the right place to attract the right people, and you have to be in the right space to attract the right people mentally, right? So, I'm asking M dot, what is a high value man or a high value woman, right? Because it's not a universal thing, right? It's not like you go to a jeweler and they test your diamonds and they give you something like, nah, it's not that, right? So, what is a high value man or a high value woman? Because we are giving value to them, we are giving value to them. This is not a universal thing, right? You can't go to a car collector and they say, okay, this is worth this or this is worth that. A blue collar man with principles and morals are under attack in today's world. I don't, okay. So M. Dot says a blue collar man with principles and morals, they under attack in this world. Um, I don't feel like they're under attack, right? I feel like the people with the voice, right? So what happens, right? You have these women. So like the doctor lady, Dr. Cheyenne or whatever, right? She's a decently attractive woman that makes a nice amount of money, and she gets on a podcast and she tell women what to expect, right? She set a standard for women, right? Now you have all these other women who are not attracting the same type of men she attracting, or women. I heard she was, she do her thing. So whatever, they are not in the same circle she's in. They are not attracting the same people she attracting. And then these women, they are setting their standard. That's where the realistic standards come from, the internet, right? So you get these women who have certain things going on in their life and they have certain standards, and they go online and they talk about these standards, right? And women who sit online all day, they listen to these women and they start setting their standards based on what these women set online, right? So now these women are telling them, I want a man that's doing this and driving this and doing that. And now you have these women who are saying that they want this, but the only people they are around are blue collar men. So they are turning away all of these blue collar men to chase people that they're never going to meet in real life and have real conversations with. And that's where the unrealistic expectations come from, right? So there are people with unrealistic expectations. I just don't want to generalize it and say women have unrealistic expectations, because there are women who are doing great in life and they have expectations that are set based on where they are, where they want to be, what they're doing, and they are in that. Like, so if you meet a woman that's a lawyer and she want her man to be a professional man, then you being blue collar, that's not the woman for you. That may not be the woman for you, right? But there are other women who are like, look, I just want a good man. And they may be doing okay for themselves, and they may be more your speed, right? That woman may be more your speed. You have to know your speed, right? So as I stated earlier, a lot of people they're shooting outside of their range. A lot of people are shooting outside of their range, and that goes for men and women. A lot of people are shooting outside of their range, and that's why they're single, right? And it doesn't mean you have to demean yourself, right? If you feel like you want a certain quality of a man or a certain quality of a woman, it just means you have to meet that quality. You have to be the person that attracts that quality of a man or a woman. I'm never telling anybody to lower their standards, or to dream lower, or to shoot lower, or to rate, or to lower their bar. That's crazy. I will never tell you that. If you want the bar up here, then you need to be reaching for that bar too. If you want to attract a certain person, then you need to be reading, watching movies. The stuff you ingest from social media need to be things that they are interested in. You need to prepare yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, everything for that person, right? If you are not attracting that person, or that person is not attracted in you, it's a reason. It's a reason. And it may not be physical. You may be a physically attractive person, but mentally you may be a mess. You may be a physically attractive person, but financially you may be a mess. You may be a physically attractive person, but emotionally you may be a mess. So you can be running people off from all different things and don't even realize it because you have not sat down and looked at yourself and said, what can I do better? What can I be better? How can I get better to attract the person that I really want in my life? Stop believing in the social media hype, right? You got to get out of that first of all, right? You got to get out of that social media stuff, right? Once you get away from the social media stuff and you are honestly assessing your life and you are honestly trying to get better in your life, then you will understand it takes work, right? It takes work. It took work for me to leave the lifestyle that I was used to. It took work for me to be faithful to my woman, to be a certain person with my woman, to do things and I'm not perfect, right? I'm not perfect. I may have a long day and get a little snappy. It's things that happen that I be like, dang, I could have handled that better. Right. But that's where me taking assessment comes from. Right. I have to assess and I assess daily. I don't assess yearly. I'm not looking at 2024 as a year. I'm assessing daily. What did I do today that I can do better tomorrow? How did I handle my kids today that I can do better tomorrow? Right. I noticed that I yell at my kids too much. I'm a little snappy. So today I loved on them a little more. Right. I love that they piss me off today. I'm like, look, you and I was just like, man, just look, man, y'all gotta slow down. Just give me a hug. I love y'all. Right? We take an assessment every day because o- the only things that'll get better are the things that you measure, right? If you are not looking at yourself and being honest with yourself, then you are setting yourself up for failure. You are dealing with these women. M. Dot. I feel for you, brother. We the same age. I don't know what it's like to be single at 40, right? I've been with my woman 10 years. I don't want to know what it's like to be single at 40, right? But I'm telling you, if you are not attracting the people that you want to attract, brother, you have to do some assessing, right? So with me, I'm not into the party animals, right? So I'm not in a club looking for a woman, right? Because where you met her is where she gonna be at. So I'm never gonna be at certain places and that be attractive to me, right? I'm just saying, with being single, you have to think about things like this. So if you want a woman that's an avid reader, you need to be at Borders Books or Starbucks somewhere and looking for you a woman, right? If you want a woman that's laid back and into poetry, then you need to be at a poetry slam or something, right? I'm just keeping it 1,000, bro. You need to be wherever that woman is at, right? And that's the same thing for women. If you are a woman that wants a certain type of man, you don't need to be in a club shaking your booty and wondering why you getting a man chasing you for your body, right? You don't want that. You don't want that type of relationship, right? If that's not what you want. Now, if you want to turn up, if you want to stay with a bottle to your lips and you want to stay bent over, then go to the club, jump on the table, twerk a little bit, and you are going to attract exactly what you want. You're going to leave that club with the person that you came there to get. Stop thinking that you can do whatever you want to do and then you're going to tell a person that they shouldn't do what they're going to do based on what you did. So if you're online, all you do is post your body all day. You cannot be mad that somebody is in your inbox saying, I like your body. I want to touch on it. Like, what are you mad at? You put your body on the internet and I liked your body. If you want somebody to respect your mind and you come on the internet and you do something like this and you talk and you post and you text and you do something to where people say, I like the way you think, right? If all you do all day is show your natural behind, or you got your breast all over the internet, and somebody is in your inbox and they want to put their mouth on it, then why are you mad? You are attracting exactly what you're getting, right? You are attracting exactly what you're getting. As a man, if you don't want a woman that's chasing your bag, stop putting your bag all in front of her, right? I had to stop accessing communities. I don't know. You right? So even with that, right? So M. Dot said he needs to stop assessing communities that he's no longer a part of, right? Me, I'm not a smoker or drinker. I will take a sip in celebration. New Year coming, I may take a sip, right? I'm that type of person, but I'm not a daily smoker or drinker or anything like that, right? So I don't need to be where the smokers, drinkers, and all that hang out. I just talked about the club. I'm not a clubber, right? So, and it's the same thing with the hood, right? I'm not in the hood. Me and M. Dot come, we both from Southwest. I am not in Southwest because it's not what I'm not. I'm already not looking for a woman, Southwest, period. But I'm saying it's not where I'm gonna find opportunities for myself. It's not where I'm gonna find opportunities for my kid. You see what I'm saying? So we have to let things go when we know this is where you gotta know what's better for you, right? Right? You gotta know that. I'm definitely energy drinked out, right? I'm definitely energy drinked out. I'm an energy drink here, right? My dog laughing at me. Look, we in Vegas. He told me where you at, man. I'm at the store. I gotta go get an energy drink. So that just come from me pushing myself too much. If I get the sleep and the rest I need, I won't need an energy drink, bro. I'm pushing it to the limit, right? Today I woke up off of 2 hours of sleep and got to it, right? I got back home. I'm like, dang, man, I'm a little under the weather. I take me a little medicine. I pass out for a couple hours, but it's just my lifestyle, man. Um, so yeah, life is about growth. So what happens is that's what I mean, right? We grow and then we want to hang on to things, right? So we grow and then we want to hang on to friends that we have outgrown, right? And those friends introduce us to the people that they think we should be with. So now the friends that we've outgrown, they call themselves being matchmakers, and you end up talking to somebody who's a lot like those friends that you've outgrown. So now you're dating down, right? That's why I'm saying I don't believe in telling anybody to lower their standards, right? I feel like don't lower your standards, get yourself together, right? Don't lower your standards. I feel like that even if you set a price, right? If you say you want $250 an hour, don't ever come down to $100 an hour. You need to understand how much value you need to add to be worth $250 an hour. So if you say you want a seven-figure man, if you are a woman that say, I want a seven-figure man, I want this, I want that, I want that, and you need to know what that seven-figure man is attracted to, and you need to become that. Whether that's a person that's well read, well versed, that can speak well, a person that looks good, whatever that person is attracted to, you need to become that. That's my thing. My thing is never to lower your standards. If you are not meeting the people that match your standards, then you need to up your game. Don't lower your standards, right? You need to up your game. You need to get away from certain people, right? You need to get around those people. So that is my thing, right? That is my thing, is to always level up. Always level up. I'm never telling you to give up on a goal. I'm telling you to go harder, right? So if you are not attracting what you truly want, I'm telling you it's you. I'm never going to tell you, well, they'll come around. I'm never going to tell you that, right? I'm never going to tell you that, right? I'm never going to say, well, just keep doing what you're doing. No, if what you're doing is not working, it's time for you to make some changes, right? That I'm big on that. I'm not I was talking about I ran ads. I was running ads for the past few months. I haven't ran the ads in a few weeks now, but I was running ads and I'm like, dog, I'm getting all these leads, but nobody really trying to spend money. And I was like, look, man, I talked to my marketing team and I was like, look, I'm getting these leads, I'm getting all these people in, and it was hundreds of leads. Y'all got hundreds of leads from the ads, and it was great, and it was cool. But I'm like, they're not trying to spend money. So I literally went back in and made a new ad, and I made adjustments. Don't keep doing what you're doing if it's not working. Somebody lied to you. Whoever told you to just keep doing what you're doing, especially when it's not working, they've never accomplished anything. They crazy. They're crazy. Now you can keep at it, but you have to make adjustments, right? You have to do something better than what you're doing if you are not getting the results you want. Stop believing the hype. Listen, y'all gotta watch who y'all taking advice from. That's what I mean by these people on the internet telling y'all about relationships and all that stuff, man. These people are literally setting y'all up for failure, right? Because they are in relationships that they hate. They are in relationships that they're hiding. They're all that stuff. All this red pill stuff is all a game, right? So you have to assess your situation personally, and you need to talk to people who truly understand your situation and are willing to give you true and heartfelt advice. They actually care about you, and they're not about to just tell you anything, right? Because I can be harsh at times, but I'm always real, right? And sometimes if you give me some BS information, and I can only give you advice based on the information you gave me. So if you give me some BS information, you're going to get some BS advice, garbage in, garbage out. But if you give me some real information, some information that I can assess, and I can actually give you something from my heart and something from my mind, because I have genuine life experiences that I can expound from. You can win. This is what winners do. Winners win. Winners make adjustments. Stop believing the hype, right? We watched Jordan. We watched Jordan get beat up by the Pistons for years. Jordan worked out harder. He did not come back the same. Well, I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna keep doing it. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. Nah, Jordan went, got stronger, got some new moves, and it's just what it is, y'all. You gotta make the adjustments. If you are not attracting what you want, make the adjustments, y'all. If your mate is not doing what you want them to do, then you need to make some adjustments, and y'all gotta make some adjustments. It's gotta be some adjustments, man. It's not like, well, we're gonna keep doing this and it's gonna work out. That's not how life works. Make the proper adjustments. Red pill is not the truth. Red pill is a bunch of people that feel like they can come and be over aggressive and do all of this stuff and not be understanding. You have to be understanding, especially if you want to be in a relationship with a person that understands you. You have to be understanding. It don't mean you got to be soft, but you got to be understanding. Everybody has a life, a different view of life. People do things differently. You have to come into a relationship and be willing to work it out and be willing to give as well as you take. So, it's been about an hour, y'all. I'm gonna get off of here. I appreciate y'all. If y'all are not following me, follow me, Chosen One Jackpot. Y'all get on my YouTube. This is my YouTube channel. I'm gonna post it here for y'all. I'm gonna post it in the comments for y'all. Check out my YouTube channel. Subscribe to that. Y'all give me some subscriptions and y'all show me some love. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. I may get on here tomorrow if I'm feeling a little better. I am definitely about to edit some content that I've been holding on to for the last week or so. And we are going to post that throughout the next few days before the first of the year, because we are going into a lot more businessy type of content, a lot more of this long form content. And I appreciate y'all for checking in, y'all. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff.